If I had any idea of the level of anger that you are capable of and that lies within you, I would never have condoned my daughter and grandson to be in your life. It truly shows the monster you are. I will do everything in my power to make sure you never hurt them again. You confessed and demonstrated in detail how you viciously abused Zayden, and not just on one occasion. You've been lying to everybody, and it's time everyone knows the truth. Your confession was filled with layers upon layers upon layers of lies, until you finally admitted to waking up that morning at about 8:30 a.m. to Zayden crying in his crib. You were angry and frustrated because you were tired. You confessed to picking him up out of his crib by holding only his head with your hands, smacking him on the back of his head, putting your hand over his mouth and smacking his face to quiet him, squeezing his head and the back of his neck with force, to which Zayden had bruises upon arrival to the hospital, and violently shaking him until his head flopped around like a rag doll. In addition to all this, you also confessed to slamming his little head into the corner of his bedroom door, again out of anger, a week prior because he cried. You abused that beautiful baby out of frustration all day long, from the time you woke up in the morning until Carrie was called home from work at 3:30. You admitted to being angry and resenting Zayden because you were not able to calm him, and he did not react to you like he did to Carrie. You had all day to call 911, all day, to get help for Zayden, and you never did. You said you knew something was wrong with him, but still you never called. Instead, you left him lying there to die while his brain bled more and more with every passing moment. There is one reason and one reason only why you did not call 911 for help, and it's because you did this to him. It was no accident, and you knew it. At that point, you were in trouble. Your actions are pure selfish and all about you, with no regard to Zayden. You do not deserve, nor will I give you one moment of sympathy. I'm sure no one has been honest with you on Zayden's condition due to your uncontrollable actions. Well, let me fill you in on what this innocent baby has gone through. Zayden has spent 2 long, terrifying months at Children's Hospital fighting for his life, on life support, and put into a medical-induced coma in an effort to save his life. He has undergone 7 brain surgeries to date and more tests than anyone endures in a lifetime. You took away Zayden's sight. His sight, he's blind because of you. He's blind, he will never see. Our once vibrant, happy, full of life grandson is now completely blind and lives in a world full of darkness, unable to ever see Carrie's face or smile again, or the beauty that the world has to offer. He cannot hold his head up, roll over, sit up, cry, smile, giggle, babble, play, or communicate, and is unaware of his surroundings. Zayden is but a shell of who he was. His days and our days are filled with multiple doctors and therapy appointments. So don't you dare stand here today and say how hard these past 6 months have been on you. What about Zayden? What about what he has had to go through and the life that you have sentenced him to? What about Carrie? Look what you've done to her. You've taken her baby from her. She trusted you and you failed her. The pain she has been forced to deal with for the rest of her life is beyond devastating. Her world will never be the same again. You have shattered all her hopes and dreams that she had for Zayden and herself. The betrayal is beyond imaginable. Never knowing what he could have been hurts beyond measure. You have taken away his chance of a normal life and a promising future. And for that, your chance of a promising future should also be taken away from you. On that dreadful day in July, you took a life. The life of Zayden. He will never be the beautiful little boy God intended him to be. You interfered with God's plan for Zayden, and you will have to answer to him for that. Zayden has been given a life sentence, and so should you. God blessed you with the greatest gift one can receive, and you destroyed that. You do not deserve the benefit of a hopeful future. Zayden looked to you for love and protection, and you failed him. You failed as a human being, a partner, and most importantly, a father. You deserve the maximum sentence allowed by law. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, I'm going to attempt to keep my comments brief. I know that you received several letters in this particular case, and this court did have the opportunity to view the 4-hour-plus video. Judge, while we all know that child abuse leaves lasting scars, unfortunately for baby Zayden, he will have scars that last a lifetime. Baby Zayden went from a thriving, growing, beautiful baby to someone who can't sit up on his own, someone who can't eat on his own, someone who can't see on his own. Although he's still with us, he is far from being with us. All because the defendant deliberately tortured his own 6-month-old child. Poor baby Zayden didn't have a fighting chance after the defendant was left alone with him for 7 hours. Those were 7 hours of pure hell for baby Zayden. The actions of the defendant during those 7 hours are deplorable. We know from watching the confession videos, not only did the defendant admit to some of the most heinous, terrifying, and aggressive actions taken to baby Zayden, but he also admitted to putting his hands on baby Zayden before this particular day. I watched about 4.5 hours of some of the most disturbing confession videos I've ever seen. And it was disturbing because of the number of times the defendant changed his story, the number of times he lied, and the way that he actually justified grabbing baby Zayden's head, shaking baby Zayden, squeezing baby Zayden's face and body so tight, giving baby Zayden at least 6 hits to the back of the head, smacking baby Zayden's face, muffling baby Zayden's mouth, putting baby Zayden in the bathtub while baby Zayden's head was flopping back and forth, trying to hope for some kind of response and not getting one, but yet still not searching for help. Grabbing baby Zayden by his neck, dropping baby Zayden on the floor in the kitchen, attempting to give baby Zayden CPR because he thought he was dying and not breathing. He told the officers that just days prior to the incident, he actually hit the back of baby Zayden's head into his own door jamb in his bedroom. Baby Zayden was crying in order to, He said that he lied to his girlfriend and he told her a different story. And frankly, Judge, as you know, the story went on and on and on. And I don't stand here, nor did baby Zayden's grandparents stand here and lie to this court, because these were actually the words of the defendant himself. At the end of the video, we saw the monster that the defendant truly is. He lost his cool. And in the video, he lost his cool in front of 2 police officers. He was so angry, he stood up, he kicked that chair that he was sitting on. He screamed so loud, he had to be restrained. That's how he reacts in front of police officers. Can you imagine, Judge, how he reacted the day baby Zayden, a 6-month-old child, was simply crying? The defendant violated the most sacred bond that we have in this world. And that's a bond between a parent and a child. If you can't trust your parents, who can you trust? Judge, this is a case where a photo speaks 1,000 words. You had an opportunity to view some photos of how baby Zayden is living today, as if he was a newborn, in a C shape, because he had so much injury to the side of his body and his muscles. His brain, several surgeries. A photo speaks 1,000 words. There's no question in my mind, Judge, that based on this heinous crime, that this is a person who should be sentenced to the maximum that this court can impose. Even the maximum sentence is not going to bring back nor have any justice for baby Zayden or his family. But at least the defendant will have ample opportunity to realize that his actions have consequences. Additionally, Judge, I'm asking that for the entire, obviously, time that he is in prison and or parole, that he has 0 contact with baby Zayden. Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Harris?
Your Honor, I know that the court has looked at the video. And everything that everybody said is obviously accurate in the video, but I think the one thing that the court should give the court pause is to look at the situation in terms of Mr. Robinson being truly frustrated. He is a young father. He obviously in that video expressed concern about how his family feels about him. He expressed concern about the fact that he had been working 2 jobs, and that he was tired. And I'm not using that as an excuse, but what I would say to this court is when you have a lack of sleep, and I think that's common with everybody, you tend to feel tired and you tend to do things that you would not normally do. Mr. Robinson was truly frustrated, especially on that day. He was frustrated with baby Zayden, but he also was frustrated with what he knew had gone on with baby Zayden in front of those officers. I would ask the court to temper its sentencing given the fact that there was that level of frustration and sentence Mr. Robinson to the mid to low end of the guidelines. I think Mr. Robinson, since I first met him, has been apologetic about what he did. He knew that what was done was wrong, but it was built out of frustration. And I would ask the court to take that into consideration in your sentencing. Thank you.
Mr. Harris? Mr. Robinson, this is your opportunity, sir. Is there anything you would like to say prior to sentencing?
Yes, sir.
All right, get a little closer to that microphone and speak up.
I just want to speak to the family first. To the Jones family, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The things that I said in the videos, I'm sorry. I know I can't take it back. I wish I could. And if I wish I could be in his shoes and he'd be in mine and not be going through things he's going through, I'm sorry. I wish I could take it back. My family, you guys know me. I'm sorry. Your Honor, I love my son. I've been there for him every day. I'm sorry. This isn't my character. It isn't who I am. I don't even have a criminal record. What Zayden's going through, I can't take back. I ask God for forgiveness every day. I'm sorry.
Mother ought to be able to, and the people that are the family of Mr. Robinson should not endure a punishment because of Mr. Robinson's actions, and not to prevent them from
I
seeing.
think maybe that was a misunderstanding. I wasn't saying that this court has the jurisdiction to prevent his family from seeing the child.
Okay.
This court has the jurisdiction and ability to indicate his family cannot facilitate the defendant seeing or talking with the child.
I understand that, Your
That's
Honor.
what I meant.
I would have no objection with that. Thank you.
Contact includes any third-party contact.
Thank you.
That's either direct contact, electronic contact, or third-party contact. Mr. Robinson, do you understand what that means?
Yes, sir.
You've, not only did you sentence the Zayden, but you've sentenced the family to a lifetime of care and a missed opportunity to share the joys with this one child. Entitled to appellate review of your conviction and sentence in this matter, sir, by way of an application for leave to appeal to the Michigan Court of Appeals. You are entitled to be represented by an attorney for that process, sir. If you cannot afford an attorney, the court will appoint an attorney to assist you in your appeal. 42 days from the date of your sentencing, which is from today's date, Mr. Robinson, to request that court-appointed attorney. That information is given to you on this form entitled Notice of Appeal Form. Do you have a copy of that form, sir?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature on my copy?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Robinson? Mr. Harris, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
I'll come around.
We'll be adjourned.